I have to apologize because this inclement weather kind of got me and my throat's a little raw. So they say good because they don't have to do me like they did Frank Sinatra. But I'm going to try to keep it brief, but there's some things that I'd like to say, some people that I'd like to honor in my life. One of the greatest tributes that you can give any coach is to go on and be successful. Coach Lemons, I know y'all look at his humor and everything, his sarcasm, but he's a very serious guy. And that's one thing that he taught us. He would come in and he advocated self-motivation. You know, nowadays everybody, oh, how you motivate, how do you motivate? But it really got to be like ragu spaghetti sauce. It got to be in there. And you know, I feel so good. I feel fortunate and blessed that, you know, he's been in my life space. I can remember coming home after, well, as a freshman, Leon Black recruited me, and we played. After the season, he turned A&M in for illegal recruiting, and then he retired. And we were all kind of concerned, and so at that point, you know, I was like, look, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna leave. And my parents was like, you ain't going nowhere. I'm like, look, you know, they leaving, there's no sense of be here. And I can remember going into Darryl Royal's office, and he said, look, if you wanna leave, and you can leave, but I guarantee you're gonna get a quality coach. And my roommate, some of you have met Ovi Dotson, he always seemed to be in the know. And he said, yeah, he said, don't worry about it, Junior. He said, we get Lefty Lemon. I said, Lefty Lemon? You know, so obviously I'm thinking he's just messing around. But then he came in, Abe Lemons, I was like, oh, I didn't know anything about him. But one thing that stands out in my mind is the first day of practice. He looks at us and he says, well, let's do this drill here. You know, I want y'all to think I know a little something about coaching. And we all started looking around like, oh my goodness. So we just started what he liked to term Mickey Mousing around, and he was looking for a shooter. And it just really stands out in my mind because he gave everybody an opportunity to play this spot. And we just run through a little offense going here and there, guy missed shot. He was over there, and no one saying to him, he used to smoke a cigar over there. And he was just shaking his head, and like, and he switched the guy around. And then I remember Baxter, he was a little fat kid he was talking about. Baxter came in, and I guess he must have settled down and hit about 5 in a row. And you could just see the expression on his face. He was like, I found one. But one thing I really respect about Coach Lemons is the fact that he wasn't the type of coach, you know, they was asking, well, are you going to run this, the run and shoot and all this and that? He was like, let me see what I got first. So that let me realize that he assessed his talent first. It's not like he's going to force you to conform to a certain system. And that was the one thing that I always respected about him as a coach. And again, I could talk about him, but, you know, it's not really about the accomplishments that I made, but this is a time to acknowledge some of the people who have deposited some things in my life. And Coach Lemons, he's one of those people who has really done, I mean, so much for me. I was back home working out after the first year I had spent with Abe, and I started reading Sports Illustrated. And there was a guy being redshirt named Brent Boyd. He was one of Pistol Pete's proteges. They called him Bullet Boy. And we used to kill him in practice and all this and that. But when I went off to school, I was very young. You know, I started school when I was 4. I grew up young. So I was forced to mature a little bit faster. But now I get 2,000 miles away from home, family. I left my comfort zone, and I wasn't taking no stuff. And Abe, you know, I did some things. I came down and the guy fired me on purpose. So I got all irate. So next time I came down, I jumped up and kicked the guy. And Abe said, man, what's wrong? That's sick, you know. And he said, you know, you don't need that. And he was telling me that, you know, I'd never become the player that I could become until I accepted some things. Some things I couldn't change, but I had to have the ability to rise above those things. So I'm reading this Sports Illustrated, and, you know, I'm like, yeah, coach, you know, I'm starting, you know, I'm 14 a game, you know. I didn't pay too much attention, but that summer, I was reading the Sports Illustrated. And it said in the Sports Illustrated how Coach Lemons and Pistol Pete's protege was going to turn Texas program around. I was like, excuse me? And it was like an awakening for me. You know, and I mean, he had told me before I left, he said, you know, if you come back, fine. But you can't come back the same way you were. If you don't want to come back, fine. And, you know, it hurt me, but it made me realize that in life you're going to have obstacles. But the key is when you fall down, you got to dust yourself off and keep going. You got to overcome, you got to adjust and overcome. And I didn't have nowhere to go. He said it's a hard time to find Altoona, but I mean, it's a great place. It's like the military. It's a great place to start. But, you know, I saw my future away from here. And so I didn't want to come back here just 2 years out into college with no future. So I had to, thank God that I had a throat big enough to swallow my little pride. And I went back. You know, and I say all that to let y'all know that, you know, my love and admiration for him is just paramount. And, you know, I just appreciate him being in my life space. You know, there's some other coaches that, you know, I need to recognize who, in anything that you do, it's important that you have a sound foundation. And I can go back all the way to Little League. And I remember my Little League coach, some of y'all know Max Gates. And I mean, he was a great coach, and he taught us at that particular time that you had to learn to play the game how you're supposed to play. Like, we felt we were little pros because we knew how to play the game. And I can remember in practices, he pitched. Batting practice, he pitched to us. And I mean, you know, we 11, 12 years old, and he throwing real fastballs and real curves and knuckleballs. And, you know, he throw a curve and you jump out of here, stay in there, watch the seams. You know, first you're like, oh man. You know, but we learned to stick in there and hit that ball. I mean, he taught us the right way to do things. That was the fundamental base that he gave us. You know, one of my favorites who really deposited a lot into my life, Coach Tony Labriola. And the thing I respect about him the most is that everybody loves a star. And it's easy to get on that bandwagon when someone's doing good. But he was the type of coach where he appreciated and he loved each and every one of his players. Even when they weren't in a good situation, he still showed you that he cared. I can remember going into his program and he was like, no, address me as sir. I'm like, look, I'm calling my daddy sir. You know, like, what you talking about? And he's like, no, it's the proper thing to do. And I learned that as long as you have good manners and you carry yourself the right way, that you could go anywhere and do anything that you wanted to do. So I always, you know, he got a special place in my heart for what he deposited in my life. I can't overlook my high school coach. Coach Levin, he told you about when we were in New York. And Coach Wag was there crying. You know, and like, to me, like, some of y'all don't know him, but that's funny because he was kind of tough. All right, I mean, he was a tough disciplinarian. A lot of times the parents was like, oh, you too rough on him, you too rough on them. I see today now that kids actually want discipline and need it. And I mean, he made us realize that, look, y'all gonna do it this way, and if you don't, there's consequences. Now he's the one, I know my voice is a little raspy, and he kind of was riding me a little bit. But, you know, I told you I was young. So physically, I didn't mature with the rest of the people I was with. And my voice hadn't changed or anything. I'm trying to call out the plays. It get loud. You know, no one could hear me. And he's over there getting frustrated because I'm trying to yell out the play. No one can hear me. We're not doing what we're supposed to do. And he just turned red and he came running out. You walk around talking like a little pee-pee. You know, and I was like, man, what's up with that? You know, but, you know, he used to have all these what I thought were corny sayings. And the thing that's funny about it is the fact that now when I look back in retrospect, those sayings, you know, I tell the team that I coach, you know, it was like he used to always say, oh, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. Now, to me, that held a lot of significance because I was about 5'4", about 135, 40 pounds, soaking wet with a few rocks in my pocket. You know, so that had a lot of significance to me. And, you know, he used to just have sayings about the work ethic, you know, that there's no easy shortcut way, but you had to work out, you had to prepare yourself. And I always honored and I respect that. And, you know, I just want to thank him for what he's deposited in my life. You hunching me? Oh. No, and, but the most important people in my life is my family. And I'd be remiss if I didn't point them out. You know, I think about my pops. And even right now with my little girl, he treats her so differently. And I said, look, you ain't the guy I grew up with. I mean, he just so lenient. And it's like, I mean, she can do everything. But, you know, I realized, and they taught us from a long time ago, that, you know, it's more than just yourself. But whenever I'm out in the community, I represent myself and my family. And later on, you represent your school and your community. It gives you a sense of accountability that's bigger than yourself. And that's so very, very important. When I was coming up, my father, he really represented the discipline in our lives. And he did discipline. I can still remember some of the whoopings. You know, but it was necessary. I can remember whenever I grew up to an adult, I mean, I had to thank him because I know some of my friends who have passed on, who have gone to prisons, and I was spared that because I knew there was only a certain distance I was going to go because I knew Billy Moore was going to get on my behind. So, you know, I want to take time out and to thank my dad. And, hey, Pop, hi, Daddy. Y'all want to take time out to thank him and let him know that, you know, I love him and I appreciate what you deposited in my life. Along with that, I never forget the women in my life. And the women in my life, they span 4 generations. It starts with my father's mother. We used to call her Mom. She helped raise us. And she gave us the spiritual back, the spiritual foundation that we need. And when anything's going wrong in your life, you know you can always come back to your roots. And I just thank her. You know, she was the type of lady where people would go to her because they knew she could get a prayer through. And I mean, the input that she put that in my life at an early age. A lot of y'all know that I had gotten sick. And a lot of people, all they can see is the physical aspects of that. But you know, the reality is there's a lot of things spiritually going on. When God has a plan for your life, you know, devil, he's going to do all he can to get you off it. So all of that, and you have to realize that and learn how to combat that. So just in her memory, you know, I just thank her, and I just hope that she's smiling upon us, because, you know, I'm trying to do the very best I can. Secondly, the second generation of women is my mama. I can remember, I used to think she was lying to me. She, eat them vegetables, baby. You grow big and strong. And I was the littlest, strongest thing going. But, you know, it did pan out. You know, I continue to believe and to trust in her. And I can remember, you know, and there's probably some of y'all out there saying, oh, you'll never play high school ball. You know, and I remember that. But I can remember my mama, she told me, look, baby, you can do anything you want to do. And I believed that. And I went out there, and I wouldn't take no for an answer. And just for the encouragement and the nurturing that, you know, no one can give you but a mother. You know, Mommy, I love you, and I appreciate you. And now the most important woman in my life is my wife. You know, and I want to thank her for the way that she stood by me in my time of my sickness. And I mean, there's something special whenever you can find somebody in your youth and you can grow together. And she's just been there. She's a strong woman. Sometimes she can get a bit opinionated, but you know, I'm learning to deal with that too. But you know, to my wife, you know, I appreciate you standing by me. You know, we've had some good times and some bad, but it's always a comfort to know. And anybody who has any amount of success knows that behind your success, there got to be a strong woman somewhere. And lastly, you know, for my little one, Brianna, she represents the 4th generation, and that's the sunshine of my life. And it's just my hope that I can continue to learn and to grow and to deposit something in her life. That, you know, Martin Luther King, he said that we all should be judged, not by the character of our content. And, you know, it's my hope that I can continue to put something in her that she may make the rest of her family proud of her too. But As I accept this induction into the Blair County Hall of Fame, I'd like to thank you, thank Altoona, and especially my family on behalf of us. That I had someone to share it with is what makes it so special for me. Thank you very much.